So very quickly, for the next few minutes, I'm going to talk to you about mental health, being aware of mental health issues, especially when you are sailing on board. I'll give you a case study. You saw the video from by Captain Dan Thompson. A few months ago, we run a helpline, a 24/7 helpline, and we get many calls, many text messages, etc., coming into the helpline. And something very simple. There was a third officer, Filipino third officer, quite a young man, and he was referred to us by his company. So what happened was something very, very simple. He had hypertension, he had diabetes, and then he developed a stomach problem 2 months into his contract. And then 2 weeks later, 3 weeks later, he felt he wasn't getting well. So he started getting worried. Yeah, not getting well. What is he going to do? Am I going to be repatriated? When I get home, what if I still don't recover? Can I go back to sea? Can I continue to work as a seafarer? What's going to happen to my family? All my financial obligations, my children are going to school. You see how it starts? Just from an illness, it escalates, escalate. Your mind thinks further and further and further away until this third officer, he had panic attacks, hyperventilating. He felt he was in a black hole. He totally couldn't work. So the master contacted the medical team, and the doctor says, no, don't worry. There's no indications of your stomach medicine to your hypertension and your diabetes. It seems very innocuous, very simple, nothing very serious. But without proper attention and bringing this up in time, just within 3 weeks, this officer developed serious anxiety, panic attacks, when it could have been stopped very early if support was given. So what is mental health? A lot of us think that the absence of a mental illness equates to mental health. It's just like saying, if I don't have high blood pressure, if I don't have diabetes, it means that I'm healthy. Not necessary, right? Not necessary. But today, we're not just going to talk about mental illness. That's not our scope. What we want to touch on is something that we encounter every day. So, anyone, last 30 days, any one of you felt angry? Yep, me, I felt angry. Anyone felt sad? Okay. Anyone felt happy? Okay. So it looks like you guys are more happy. That's good. Anyone feel stressed? Stressed. Maybe earlier in some of the talks, some of the discussions, the changes that are happening in your career, in your jobs, already increases your stress. Diba? Yeah? So, all these feelings are normal. If you don't have any 4 or more feelings, then you are actually quite abnormal. Because our mental health, a lot of it is due to our emotions. Yeah? The key thing to note is if the negative emotions or the reactions to the unhappy situation, if that causes you to not able to perform as you would otherwise do, then you probably have a mental health problem. It's just like the third officer, right? It's okay to have, you know, hypertension, diabetes, as long as it's controlled, right? That's normal. I too have hypertension. I've not taken my meds today. So I have to remind myself, but as long as it's controlled. But when it comes to a time when it affects your daily life, then we have to say that, okay, I have a mental health problem, I have a mental health issue, I need more help. The important thing is why we say it's normal is we all operate in a continuum. You can't be right at the green, 100% positive all the time, right? If you see someone keep smiling every day, even though his house got, collapsed, if he had something terrible going on and he keeps smiling, you actually would be worried, yeah. Or if the guy keeps on being sad for too long, then you get worried. Basically, everyone will be traveling or feeling positive, negative, and then you become positive again. It's different for everyone. But the thing to note is when you're on board the vessel working together for months, and many of you have been working together for many contracts, you actually know the person. Even if you don't talk too much, you kind of can guess, right, whether the guy is, feeling okay, not okay. Important is when a person stays in the red zone, too quiet, withdrawing from other people, not participating in the video game, in the basketball game, then you have to question why, what has happened. And the important first step that gives us the courage is we have to eradicate some of the misconceptions of mental health. The first one is mental health problems are rare. Anybody? True or false? True? Anyone's false? Okay. False. Absolutely. As you can see in the population, about 20 to 25% will have some kind of mental health distress. In the Philippines in 2017, DOH submitted some data to the Senate, and the senators were jumping up and down. The data from DOH says that 17 million Filipinos are suffering from some kind of very serious mental health problems. 17 million. Out of which about 3 million has got severe mental health problems. It's very common, 17% of the population at that time. On the average, almost every one of us will meet with some kind of mental health distress. I know I was very distressed when my father passed away. I was by his bedside as he passed. That is a distress. Yeah, we cannot escape because we are humans. The question is, how do we deal with it? Next one. Mental health, people's who has got mental health problems are violent. Anyone? True? False. Okay. A lot of people think that, well, small minority maybe, yeah, violent, but generally, people with mental health issues, they are not violent. It is unfortunate that books, dramas, movies, yeah, depicted. In fact, people with mental health issues most likely are the victims. Why? Because people stay away from them. They don't want to be in touch with them. And these people become even more isolated. And because of that, they can't get the help that they need. People can recover from mental illness. True? True? False? Anyone? True. Okay, I hear a lot of true. They can recover. But the thing to note is many mental illnesses has got no cure. Right? There is no cure for many of the illnesses, but people can recover, they can manage, they can live positive and fulfilling lives. True. They cannot work. Can they work if they've got mental health problems or issues or illnesses? You look at, remember Captain Dan Thompson? When he had problems, he was a navigation officer. And then he got treatment, he got the support, and he made captain. Right? That's a long journey, right? But he made it. You can have a fulfilling career, family. You are able to contribute to your community because Captain Dan Thompson, other seafarers, other people. Not only that, studies have shown that people with even mental illnesses, they have the same kind of motivation as the rest of us. Can we do a lot to help a friend or a colleague? Yes? Yep. We can. We can do a lot. And I will just show you a simple technique later on, something that we already do, but maybe sometimes we forget. Okay, so this is the part where probably all of you would find it helpful. Yeah, especially nowadays, many rating agencies, they want to see whether senior officers or anyone on board understand mental health, especially the identification of signs and symptoms. Okay? Not about the mental illness, because we cannot. It's a diagnosis that can only be done by a psychiatrist or a clinical psychologist, not any psychologist, clinical psychologist. Right? So what we're looking at are basically common signs and symptoms that we can observe in people around us. So there are three types of symptoms. Behavioral, the way the person behaves, including the way he talks. Psychological, the way he thinks. And physical. Surprisingly, when a person is under mental distress, he will usually also have physical symptoms. Okay, very quickly. There are many, many, many signs and symptoms. But a very common one is, if you're surprised, abusing substances is a sign of possible mental distress. Why? Abusing substances is not just about taking shabu or anything like that. Okay, it includes that. Yeah, it includes that. But substances could be on board. You have sleeping pills, no? Yeah. So over reliance on this kind of substances, painkillers, ibuprofen, aspirin, whatever. Okay, alcohol, even tobacco, is a sign. The other one, withdrawing from others. So on board, usually you have video game, basketball, gym, get together, barbecue. I know many sets of crew now, because Christmas is coming, they've already ordered their pigs so that they can have the lechon over Christmas, right? So you find that If a crew member or crew members do not want to join in, they start staying far away from the people that they always are in contact with. They get quieter, they don't want to participate. It's a sign. Not that there is something wrong, but maybe something is bothering him. The other one, this one, very common. 1, 2, 3, 4. Irritability, anger, and aggression. When you know the person, usually very happy go lucky, very, can smile, can joke, doesn't get angry easily. And then over a period of time, you find that his temperament, not so good, easily get angry, maybe sometimes becomes verbally abusive, right? Aggression includes verbal aggression. It's also a sign that you all should look out for. There's a story about 10 years ago, back in Cebu. We have an office in Cebu. And an acquaintance of mine, he was a bosun. He had just signed off, came home to Cebu. So we had a Christmas party. He's a very good cook. And we were talking. And his very, very good friend was AB. And he says, you know what, Gavin? Now that you mentioned it, I realize my friend was like that, irritable, easily got angry, and a bit aggressive. I said, how do you find out? He said, oh, we were playing, I think that time was PS1. Huh? Oh, we were playing Sony games. And then usually he's laughing and joking and all that. But this time he threw away the controller, he kicked it, he started cursing and swearing. It's very unlike him. Psychological symptoms. The next thing that you can look out for is very common, low mood. Yeah, maybe you've seen your friends or you feel it. Low mood. When your mood is low, 1 day, 2 days, remember the continuum, positive, negative, it's okay. But if you constantly have low mood, 3 days, 4 days, 5 days, when it comes to 1 week, some of them 2 weeks, it is a cause for concern. You have to bring it up. Anxiety and distress is also very common. I just spoke with a crew on board a vessel that just sailed through a terrible storm. The master told me that. I say, Master, Cap, where's your crew? I say, oh, they're all resting. I say, what happened? "Ah, we just came through a terrible storm, right? So I had a conversation with the crew a few hours, 8 hours later, and just to check on them, how are they feeling? Most of them would have some anxiety. That is very, very common. Okay? Difficulty relaxing. So the guy is in low mood, but he cannot rest. And the last one. Many a times you will find that when a person is in mental distress, and this is usually after a terrifying incident, could be a serious injury on board, it could be a storm, piracy attempts, whatever the case may be, horrifying, terrifying. The person will have some chest pains, could develop chest pains. And this one is very common, upset stomach. Right? Your stomach doesn't feel good. And the thing is, remember the third officer? He had all of the three. It wasn't really, well, it's medical, of course, but the root of it was he was just worried that he can no longer become a seafarer because his stomach ailment cannot be healed. And it got worse. The thinking spiral downwards. And his stomach was actually okay. But after that, he kept on having upset stomach. It was physical. It showed up. I'm not going to go too much into this for the sake of time, but I want to just stress this one. I want to stress the stress. Right? In our helpline work, the most common complaint that a seafarer has, the group of people that we serve, is stress. Number one, the stress of the work. Okay. So, what is stress? Just 5 minutes of this, it'll be hopefully useful to you guys. When a person is under stress, the body actually changes. Your body changes. A lot of stress hormones, chemicals are being produced. Why must stress be managed? No matter where you are, what work you do, is because through sleep, seafarers always laugh at me, how to sleep. Okay, it's not maybe 7 or 8 hours, but how much deep sleep you have. When you're in sleep, but during sleep, that is the only time your body can get rid of the unwanted hormones through the central nervous system, the spinal fluid. If you don't get rid of this cortisol and noradrenaline and all that, studies have shown that when you hit 60 and above, the chances of you developing dementia increases. This is scientific. Stress causes your body to change, and stress must be managed. There are very simple techniques to manage stress. Exercise, right? When you guys are on board, exercise. Don't have to be hard exercise, but even a walk, even some indoor push-ups, jumping jacks, whatever, you have to exercise. That is one way to reduce stress. A good diet, not too salty, not too sweet, yeah? Enjoy your lechon from time to time, your lechon kawali, whatever, pork belly, yeah? It's a must. It's not that you don't. Right? Limit, okay? Have a balance. So that is one way. Now, the other way is, this is very, very simple. Doesn't cost you a penny. I hope you all will try this. Research has shown that if you do this consistently for 6 months, there's a whole lot of changes that occurs. And it's very, very simple. It's the practice of gratitude. How many of us pray? I pray. Yeah, I see many. How many of you pray? Great. Yeah. Now, what happens when you pray? You give thanks, diba? Yeah. Thank you, Lord. Whatever you pray. Okay, your faith. Now, when you pray, do you notice that you pray too fast? For some of you guys who say the Lord prayers, da 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 da, done. Or when you say grace before a meal or give thanks before a meal, too fast. Do you understand what you're saying? So the practice of gratitude, slow down. Okay? Slow down. Just think of what you're saying. The next one is, if you don't, it's fine. Now, every day, stressful. Yeah? Stressful. This morning was very stressful for me. I think Captain Glenn will be laughing at me. But here's the thing. Every day before you sleep, even though it was a bad day, it was a stressful day, think of 3 good things that happened to you that day. Think of 3 good things. It can be very, very simple things. Oh man, the coffee was good this morning, Why was it good? Because yesterday's coffee sucked. It was terrible yesterday. So today was good. Lunch was good. Right? We sailed through a storm. Everyone was fine. I heard my daughter did very well in the exam. 3 good things every day. Very simple. But research shows that if you do this 6 months continuously, your life changes. Why? Because you focus on what you have, not what is giving you problems. And maybe that's the law of attraction. I don't know. But the science say that if you do this, positive psychology and other psychology and psychiatry, practicing gratitude reduces stress, it improves relationship, it improves communication, and I believe it's because we focus on the positive thing. Okay? Now the last thing is this. Usually it's very difficult to talk about mental health. Yeah? In Philippines, in India, in Singapore, it's very hard because of the mindset. We are afraid that we will invade other people's privacy. We do not know how to start the topic. And people who are suffering, who's got a problem, they keep quiet because they think that it will affect their work status. And they fear of being stigmatized. Stigmatized means we label a person wrongly, judgmentally, you know. We don't see the person, but we see the condition of that person. So the best way is just one change of our language can make all the difference. Now, usually, okay, I've got friends from Singapore too. I'm Singaporean. Very easy. We'll say, hey, why you like that? Yeah, very common. We'll say, hey, why you like that? Why are you like that? The key is the use of the word why. When we use the word why, it kinds of like target the person, not the situation. If we just change our language, hey, what has happened that made you easily angry, irritable? See? It's a little bit long-winded, but to the listener, he will say, yeah, he knows how I feel. I'm irritable. I'm easily angered. I have low mood. I seem to be depressed. But he is asking me, what has caused me to be like that? Okay, it's a little bit different. Try it. Just a slight change. So the easy way to start is, hey, how are you? You seem to be a little bit blah, 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 blah. Okay? Is there anything I can do to help? Of course, when we speak to our friends, it's not going to be like that, but that's the idea. How are you? How are you? Is there anything I can do to help? Okay? So, not why are you like that? Everyone is okay. Why, man? Buck up. Do it. And sometimes you do need the kick. Yeah, I'm not saying that you don't. But when we are trying to find out more about what has caused the person to feel the way he feels, then we try to mind our language, right? Just change one word from why to what. Okay? And the rest. Now, the key thing is the third officer to round some off. What happened to him? Although it was a little bit late, 3 weeks, he lost weight, he had panic attacks, etc. We supported him 3 times. We, get him to focus, and he's okay. He came home after his contract. He just went back sailing again, no problem. I think after the next contract, he should be up for promotion to 2O. Yeah. So you can. The key thing is bring it up early. Bring it up early before it's easier to support a person at the early stage. So you can bring it up. And we do run a 24/7 helpline assistance. You can email us, you can chat with us, you can call us 24/7 anytime. And all your conversations are confidential. We do not report back to the principals, whoever, unless we need to. So if we know who you are, which company you're working with, if there is potential harm to yourself or to other people or to property, then for your own safety and for others, it is our duty and anyone's duty to help you by reporting it, yeah, so that you can get the help. But other than that, if you choose to remain anonymous, no problem. Right? Just like any helpline. It's staffed 24/7. Our guys are trained to handle anything from a minor problem that you face all the way to piracy. Yeah, coming alongside your family, post-piracy, up to that level. Okay, so please contact us if you need any support. So with this, I'd like to thank all of you. There's a lot to cover. Yeah, thank you very much to UMMS, the management, for having us here, and Captain Glenn. I've known him for many, many years, and he's a fantastic trainer. Yeah, you guys are lucky to have him. Thank you. God bless. All the best to you.
Yeah, thank you, Gavin. Thank you, Gavin, and thank you, Sailors Society, for coming here and condensing that long presentation into something that could affect the seafarers in a positive way. Yeah, and you've been very generous, Gavin. Yeah, we would like to welcome our next presenter, Mr. Andrew Leahy from MTI. Please, Andrew, welcome.
See the lady down there. Hi, folks. How are we all? How's everybody up the back? Still alive? Okay, you all look a bit tired. So can everyone stand up, please? Everyone stand up. Okay. We're going to start with a little stretch. Hands up. Then arms down as far as you can. Okay, then to the side. Okay, and back up again. Now this time a bit faster and we sing. Now we're going to the YMCA. Good job, good job. Take a seat. I work for a group called MTI, and we've all heard today about the steps you need to take to try and avoid incidents and getting into trouble. Well, we're the company that helps or works with Union Marine when there is trouble. And part of our job is to protect staff, but also to protect the company. So I'm just going to run through some things with you today that I think will help you if you do get into a troubled situation. The biggest things you need to know really is that we work with about 11,000 vessels globally, and we deal with about 1,100 incidents a year. So what that means is that we've got a really good cross-section of what incidents are occurring right now globally. So I'm going to run through a couple of situations with you, case studies we can have a good look at, and then go through what you need to do as seafarers if you find yourself in an incident. If you have a look to the right, 1,100 incidents a year, so 3 or 4 a day. 60% of marine incidents. Now, you all know what they are. They're the same incidents that you've dealt with your whole lives in terms of seafarers' lives. But what we are seeing is a massive increase in social issues, and it's affecting the industry as a whole. So I'll touch on that. I mean, Steen touched before on the ESG, environment, social. That's very much a part of these social issues that I'm talking about. Okay, and the industry is changing, and as leaders on board the vessels, you really need to be part of that change and the evolution in terms of dealing with social issues as well. Reputational risks, as I said, maritime safety-related incidents. I'm going to move. The other big one at the moment is geopolitical events. Obviously, you all know about Ukraine, Russia. The Middle East continues to be a massive problem. Israel, Hamas. We have vessels in Australia run by Zim with protests happening there at the moment. There's also NGO protests in terms of environmental protesting across the globe. And of course, integrity, which are things like harassment, bullying, things that strike at the very culture of a company and can actually bring a company, their repute, to be questioned heavily. And also social media exposure. I mean, you're all on social media. In fact, the Philippines is one of the most prevalent users of social media. I'm sure your families are all connected as well. But social media is a tool. And if you think of a hammer, if you use a hammer correctly, it's a great tool. But if you use it the wrong way, it can cause a lot of damage. So I'm going to touch on that as well today. Here's a couple of recent incidents we'll go through. Obviously, for us, it's been a lot of car carrier stuff, but realistically, the incidents that we deal with across the board. So this was a car carrier that was the Fremantle Highway, owned by Japanese clients, that had a fire on board after it had exited the German port of Bremerhaven. So the coverage itself was quite indicative of what we see a lot today in terms of the focus was more on the environment than actually on the crew. In terms of what they were saying, they're worried about the world-renowned bird habitat and the fears of an environmental disaster, where as an industry, we tend to be more concerned about SOLAS, safety of life at sea. And there was a crew member that died and there were 20 others were injured in this particular incident. Okay. The coverage of incidents like this is global. You have wonderful, if you're a media outlet, wonderful images like this given to you by the Dutch Coast Guard for free. You don't have to send a cameraman or anything. And then you can build a story around it. So anytime that any of you are involved in a serious incident, it's almost inevitably there will be global coverage around it. When you're dealing with an incident like this and there is injuries or, sadly, loss of life, there are a whole lot of other people that are affected as well. Obviously, families, friends, and others. And increasingly, we're seeing the impact on these other people, the other stakeholders in seafarers' lives, are also impacting companies on a far bigger scale, generally because of social media. Does that play or no? Basically, she's saying we'll cross live now to the car carrier, which is in New York, where 2 firefighters died while fighting the fire on this Grimaldi car carrier.
Pouring water on the top deck there. This has been a tragic few hours here in the city of Newark. As you mentioned, 2 firefighters with the Newark Fire Department have lost their lives battling a very intense fire aboard that cargo ship, which is called the Grande Costa di Avorio. The flames were very intense in this fire that began last night around 9:30. Between 5 and 7 vehicles initially were totally engulfed in flames. The cargo ship arrived here at the port yesterday from Baltimore, according to online records. It is registered in Italy, and according to Newark Mayor Ross Baraka, was carrying about 5,000 vehicles. And that's significant, of course, because of all the accelerants, the gas, the oil, the rubber that could fuel these flames and keep them going. Multiple fire departments from across New Jersey and from New York City.
So, again, a significant story. This was alongside in New York. So all of the US press were present and involved. Reuters, which is a global outlet and sends news globally, obviously they wrote stories. So then it went around the world as well. Okay. It was so big that President Biden himself got involved. So the US president then reached out to the families that were involved. And obviously the media was approaching the families. And the wife quite rightly asked, why do we send men to protect these cars? It's material stuff, because she's grieving. Okay, there's always going to be that kind of reaction in these types of incidents. We were working with Grimaldi, and obviously they are putting out messages saying our thoughts are with the families involved. Sticking on America, and more just for your information, now that I've got through the bad stuff, it's very important that crews understand, and I know you trade into the US, that at the moment we're seeing a massive jump in cases around magic pipe, oil separators, that sort of stuff. Post-COVID, the Coast Guard has done a rather large crackdown on it. Now, I have no idea why people keep doing this. It's a really dumb thing to do, particularly in America. There's no real gain for the seafarers involved. So we've had a number of cases over the last 2 years. A case last year, the fine was $9.6 million. This year was $4.2 million. Okay, but perhaps the most significant thing, which has changed, is that now they are jailing the seafarers involved. They used to just fine the companies, but they're actually sending the seafarers to prison. Okay? So when you have a talk to your people, I'm sure no one in this room would ever do it, but it is still happening. Make it very clear what the repercussions are in terms of the states. And obviously it comes back on the companies heavily involved as well. Ship owners and operator plead guilty to environmental damage. We've got 2 ongoing cases right now, so it's still happening. On a more global outlook, we're seeing, as I touched on, global tensions have increased significantly. 2 different areas. On the left is the Black Sea. On the right is in the Middle East.
Stop machine! Stop machine! Stop machine! Stop it, Jai! Stop it, Jai! Keep calm and listen to me! Sit down, please sit down! Please sit down. Keep calm and listen to me. What is your captain? Speak English.
Yes, I am speaking English.
Yes. Good day, sir. I'm Russian Navy officer. My action.
Okay? Obviously, very traumatic for the crews involved. The crews had done nothing wrong. The vessels had done nothing wrong. It's just they're in the wrong place at the wrong time. Okay? The one on the right, the Advantage Suite, is still in Iran right now. It's been there for about 5 or 6 months. They did do a crew change, but they still have not released the vessel. Okay? So, as I said, the geopolitical tensions are pulling seafarers into situations that they perhaps haven't been in before as much. A different type of detention. This was in Indonesia last year, in that the vessel anchored in an area that the Indonesian said was inside Indonesian territorial waters. There was some discussions about whether it was or not, but the Indonesians detained it, and then a journalist came out and made an accusation that they had asked for $375,000 to release it. Okay? So then, because they published that, the Indonesian Navy, the very next day, got the master of the vessel to come onto the deck and do a press conference with them. The company knew nothing about it. We weren't warned about it at all. He was just dragged up and had to do a press conference with the Indonesian Navy, okay, which was them basically saying that they did not make any demands for payment or anything like that at all. Okay. Luckily, because we didn't get to talk to him beforehand, when they said, was he asked for payment, he simply said no and didn't say anything else. And he said, if you want to speak to anything else, please speak to the office. But again, a seafarer being pulled into a situation which is very unfortunate and not of his own doing, where you have to be very careful about what you do and what you say. Another type of detention, although perhaps again softer, is the actions of NGOs in Europe at the moment. There's been a huge jump up in environmental action. Okay, so this is a group of young ladies in Norway who are in a small sailboat and have decided they don't want the tanker there removing oily waste from an oil major to go to Denmark for treatment.
Vi har ankret skipet vårt til dette for å vise sannheten om Equinor, og nå prøver de å skylle vekk budskapet, som de alltid gjør.
So look at her. She's having the time of her life. The most exciting day she's ever had. Completely illegal, of course, but it doesn't matter. I did hear some people down here laugh when they saw them painting on the side of the ship. Now, I know that your immediate reaction to that is, you can't do that, so let's get rid of it. But that's actually the wrong reaction. And when we spoke to them after the fact, we said to them, why did you hose the paint off while they were there? Because if you look at it from this photo, it looks like they're trying to fire hose the activists. And that would be looked upon as an aggressive act by the crew. Okay, and you've got to be really careful in these situations. So again, kind of like a detention, they sat there for 2 days, but you can't react in an aggressive way at all in these situations. They have cameras all over them. You wait for the authorities to come and clear them off. After, you can clean the ship as much as you like. Okay, but in these situations, you just chill out. If they get on board the vessel, give them a safety briefing, a tea and a coffee, a room if they want one, and wait until the authorities arrive. Okay? So folks, this is the evolution I'm talking about. It's not as simple as it perhaps used to be. This is a different one as well. This is an NGO group approaching shipping companies about tank cleaning. Now, we don't think anything is wrong with tank cleaning. We do it all by the book. But this Swedish group, which was a Swedish national broadcaster, decided that they didn't agree with tank cleaning and then was doing an article on chemical spills, which was actually tank cleaning. But as part of it, up here, they were sending messages to crew members. Okay, hi, I work for the Swedish television. We're trying to get in contact with people who've worked on this vessel. And this was actually taken from a crew member who gave it to us to see. So now they can message you directly. It's not hard to find you. Okay, quite frankly, if I go onto Facebook and put Union Marine in Seafarers Philippine, I'm sure a couple of you would pop up as well. Okay, so just be aware of the different ways now that you can be approached. Social issues. And this, as I touched on before, is really the growth area in dealing with incidents for us. Obviously, the one on the left was a very serious case in the States. It was a female cadet on a Maersk vessel that alleged rape. It was done anonymously to start with, and the case is still ongoing. And it's 2.5 years ago that it started. Okay, so obviously, a lot of companies rightfully are getting more and more females on board of vessels. The environment is changing, and we need to be able to deal with that as leaders on board. You know, related to that in some ways is the other side, different forms of abuse, bullying, harassment of seafarers on board. And there are ample statistics and articles around these days showing that there is an increase in that type of behaviour. Now, I don't know if there's been a significant increase or it's because people have more access to platforms to talk about the wrong things that have been done. But it's your responsibility on board your vessels to keep an eye on this type of thing. Because as I said, if there's a question around this type of stuff, it comes to the very heart of the culture of the company. Do people feel safe on board the vessels? People underneath you, are they safe? Okay, so again, a heightened awareness in this area, a new challenge. There's always been some level of mental health issues and things like that, but post-COVID, we've seen a real jump in it. Now, if you take that a step further and it gets even more serious, then the families can become involved in quite a damaging way. Now, my partner sitting up here, Gina, just stand up and put your hand up. That's our Filipino partner here. She worked on the Cadet Galorio case. Do you remember that one? A couple of years ago, the cadet that went missing, mum went on social media, made it all the way to Duterte's office. Rafi Tulfo, Gina spoke on Rafi Tulfo's show, spoke with the families involved. More and more, we are saying, tragically, when there's loss of life or serious injury, that if the interaction between the company and the family breaks down, or if there is interaction between the family and other seafarers that doesn't go the way the family likes, or they hear stuff that they don't like, then it escalates badly. And it escalates to the point where it damages the company and damages the other seafarers involved. This particular case, he was a chief engineer, apparently a very, very happy young man who took his own life in a very public place on board. They went into Gibraltar, did a post-mortem, English pathologist. The findings were he took his own life, but the family refused to accept it. Okay, and they are obviously deeply in mourning. The sister knows PR and went on to YouTube and put together a number of clips about the incident, and the accusations against the company became very, very serious.
Shipping ministry is quiet. They are not taking any action on this company. So I want to know, I want to request our shipping ministry to take serious actions against this company. And I want help from each one of you. Please help us. Please support us. I have seen mothers jo 12 day, 15
I won't make you watch it all, but you can see that it's a very emotional clip. What you don't see is that she's written all the points that she wants off camera. I saw it because I used to be a television journalist, and it's very, very well done, and it pulls at the heartstrings. So if you don't know the industry well or anything like that and you see that, straight away, you're on her side. Okay, as I said though, seriously escalated. It's now in courts because of the accusations that were made. And part of the family's reasons for distrusting the company involved were accusations of bullying and harassment on board the vessel that they'd heard about off other seafarers. So there is kick-on effects. Okay, if there is an issue, it needs to be reported to management and escalated and dealt with in the right way. Okay, if in a family like this that is in mourning hears things like that, then their obvious reaction is going to be against the company and against the seafarers that they're talking about.
shipping ministry.
This escalated so much, and it's Anglo-Eastern, by the way, so we're not talking about like a small shipping company here. They're massive. So it was Anglo-Eastern, and it escalated to the point where Anglo had to do internal releases to their own people because they were being approached by the entire Indian shipping community. And the India's Directorate General of Shipping suspended their recruitment license, initially for 3 years. Now, that was overturned really quickly because the courts found it to be a ridiculous ruling, but it shows you the pressure that was brought to bear by her social media outpourings and the support that it gained. She still has a GoFundMe page now, again, 2.5 years on. So as you can see, these social issues don't go away. They stay around for a long time and they're very damaging. So you've got to be aware about them and how they unfold. So that's some of the incidents. Now I want to have a chat to you about what we do and what we try and achieve with Union Marine. Okay, we are not a PR group. All we do is crisis. So if there is an incident, we don't run out and say to the media, there's a problem here. We monitor media and see when we think the story is going to break. We get statements ready. We're ready to go. It's very structured. Once it breaks, we talk about what the company is doing to fix the situation. So if it's an oil spill, anything like that, you've got oil spill responders, all of that type of thing. Okay, then that allows us to obtain a share of the voice. Union Marine is a responsible company reacting in the right way. That we correct misperceptions. You may be on a bulk carrier that they're calling a tanker because it's an oil spill, that sort of stuff. And by doing that, we can provide an efficient flow of information. The biggest thing about it, though, is that we're trying to protect Union Marine, which is essentially protecting your jobs. That's what this is all about. Okay, and quite frankly, folks, you're very lucky for the group you work with. I work with a lot of shipping companies, and there are very few that are as good as these guys are. Okay, so do know that there is structures in place about how we're going to deal with these situations. But what's important about those structures is that if somebody goes outside of those structures, it's going to cause a real problem. So what we say is one voice, one message. So from all of us as a group, there is one clear message coming out that we have formulated with management about how we're going to react. Okay, owners, charterers, masters, officers, crew, often we're dealing with the US Coast Guard if it's in America or other people involved, okay? But there has to be one voice. So if there are other people putting information out, that becomes a problem because the media thinks we're not telling the truth, we're lying, we're hiding stuff. And that's actually why it's really important. What I'm trying to explain to you guys today is that no matter where you are in the company, you do have a role. Your role might be minimal, but you have a role during any incident. Managers, masters and crew are off on the front line. So you're on the vessel dealing with an incident. You really need to get on with dealing with the incident. You shouldn't be focused on dealing with media, dealing with families or dealing with anybody else, okay? That's not your job. Your job is to make sure that your fellow seafarers are okay, make sure that the vessel is still able to operate, all of those sorts of things, is to look after each other, okay? But most of you are actually really nice people and you want to be helpful. So most of you will actually want to be helpful if you get a phone call. Don't be necessarily. So, direct exposure of the ship. No, wait a second. So when an incident happens, you may get a call very early on the bridge. And don't think it doesn't happen because it does more and more these days. It's easy to get information about vessels now online. For all the vessel tracking sites, all the AIS data, all of that, it's actually quite easy to reach out to people. So be polite, be firm, but have a plan. Don't be afraid to get off the phone if you're on the bridge and you pick up the phone and it's a phone call to you. If it's a social media post or anything like that, don't be afraid to not respond and to send it on to management so that they know so that we can respond. Might be hard for you to read. This was a major collision in the Singapore Strait with a tanker and a USS McCain. It ended up with the death of 10 US Navy seafarers. And I was actually working on this case, and Reuters rang the bridge of the tanker within about an hour and a half of the collision. Okay, so just a real example of the fact that the media can find the number on the bridge or other numbers relatively quickly.
I'm calling from RTV. We're a local TV station near Antwerp. My name's Elise Peters. I understand you have some pollution, Captain.
No, we don't have its pollution. It's pollution from this vessel who is collided to us, yeah?
All right.
It's a small coaster.
So you're saying your
tanker.
vessel is not responsible for the pollution?
No, not responsible for any pollution from our side.
Okay.
Okay, so that was actually during a real drill, and we had the master involved. What's the problem with what he just said? Well, I mean, he wasn't very polite, that's true. But that's not what I'm aiming at. Anything else? What does it say? What did it say? Well, and he also, there's nothing wrong with confirming the incident, but then he blamed the other ship. It doesn't matter if it's the other ship's fault. You don't talk about the incident. You don't sit there and go into facts. You don't know if the oil in the water is yours, really. I mean, think about it in the first hour or so. If you've had a major collision, can you 100% say that nothing in the water is yours? It's very hard to do that. Okay? So here we are. This is only a scenario, but we're going to play this today. The J. Mare is transiting Singapore Strait. Weather's misty, dense fog patches, squalls. At around 05 this morning, it was departing East Anchorage, makes hard contact with the tanker Ardmore Seafarer. Collision immediately reported to the authorities. There's a smell of oil in the water, and there appears to be considerable pollution, although we don't know which ship it's come from. Water is entering the damaged ballast tank of the J. Mare. So the J. Mare is our vessel. All of you are on board the J. Mare right now, okay? A seafarer who was on deck of the J. Mare at the time of the collision appears to have gone overboard and is unaccounted for. So we have a missing seafarer. 2 additional crew members sustained severe injuries in the engine room and galley, including burns. Both require medivacs. So we've got a missing seafarer and 2 seriously injured seafarers. The masters initiated a search of the vessel and broadcast man overboard signals around. So, as I said, a very serious situation. If you're on board the vessel, you can imagine how much stuff is going on at the moment. If you're in the Singapore Strait, who else is in the Singapore Strait with you? Like thousands of vessels, people, it's everywhere. So there's no way known that they're not going to know that this has happened. Okay, so how would you react if you got a phone call? The first thing that we see is a social media post. One of the guys working on the ferries or something like that, he's taken a picture of the tanker showing a big hole in the side of it and named your vessel. So this is a serious incident that is now public. What would we expect now to happen? Folks, you've all got one. What would we expect now to happen? Well, I can tell you the media would start ringing the office, or the media would start ringing the vessel, or send you social media posts or whatever they possibly can. Okay? So I am going to volunteer you, my friend. Aren't you blessed? I'm not nearly as nice as Vino because the media aren't nice at all. You're about to answer a phone call from me on the bridge of the vessel. Hold it up there. Hold it up there, ready? Can we have a phone call, please?
Hello? Hello?
Hello, ma'am.
Yes, this is Gina. I'm calling from the Philippine News Agency. I have a story that I'm going to submit to CNN Philippines. This is about J. Marie. Can you please tell me more about this? Because we heard from some reliable sources that there are missing crew on board who appear to have gone overboard. And you are now in rescue operation. Can you please tell us more about this? Hello? Are you there?
Yes, ma'am. I'm here, ma'am.
Yes. Can you tell me more about this, please? And may I know who I'm speaking to?
This is Third Engineer Quesada, ma'am.
Are you on board right now? And where are you? Are you on the bridge?
I'm in the engine room, ma'am.
You're in the engine room.
You're on the bridge.
Oh. So, there is a collision, so you must have more information there. Can you tell me more about this? You're in the engine room, right?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, tell me more about this because I need to submit my story in 5 minutes. I need more information. I need to know about the crew that went overboard and the missing. I mean, there are 2 crew I was told that who were injured. Can you tell me more about this?
Yes, ma'am. Now we are still searching the missing person overboard.
So can I quote you about that?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so I'll get your full name again, and you are now at the engine room, right?
Yes, ma'am.
So this is official, and I'm going to write a story, and I will quote you in the story.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, thank you.
Round of applause, please. Very hard job. So, as I said, you try and be friendly and you try and be helpful. But unfortunately, in this situation, it's not really what we want you to do. What we want you to do is to get off the phone. Okay, your job is to deal with the incident. So it was unfair of me to pick you, but, you know, having the media rings you unfair as well. So when you think about what we need to say, you try and keep it really simple and get off the phone. Thank you for your call. Everybody on board the ship is busy. We've got to free up this line immediately. Please ring our management office and give them the number. And that's it. If they keep asking you questions, say, look, we are dealing with an incident. We need to get off this line now, and hang up. Okay? This is what I mean by not being afraid to be strong. The last thing you want to do is to be quoted as a source or to be giving out information about search and rescue or any of that. Don't do that. Send them to the office. If I'm a reporter, and I used to be a reporter, if he says to me, ring the office on this number, I'm going to hang up and ring the office first. I might try and ring you back later. But if I think the office has information, I'm going to go to the office because I'm trying to get a story together. Okay? So don't get stuck in a conversation. Don't let them draw any questions out of you. Don't do anything. Yes, mate.
Or just saying wrong number and putting the phone down.
Well, then I'll just ring you back again because I know it's not a wrong number. Or I say, we rang the vessel and they said no comment. So, you know, it's not worth it. Just say, ring the office, because then they can't actually say that you've done anything wrong. You've done the right thing. I don't have information. Please ring the office. Boom.
Thank you.
That's all right. That's all right. So does everybody understand that? Okay. So I'm just conscious of time, so I'm just going to kick it along a bit.
I'm joined by the captain of the MT Ants, the oil tanker that has been involved in a collision with another vessel today. Captain, can you give me a brief update on what the current situation is, please?
I'm very sorry, ma'am. We are currently responding to an unexpected situation here in Antwerp, and this requires my immediate attention. So I would really urge you to contact my office on the number 1234. I really need to free up this line. So thank you very much, ma'am. Thank you. I have to leave you here.
You say it's an unexpected situation. Do you know who is at fault here?
Again, I have to free up the line. It's a situation which now requires my immediate attention. So I really can't stay on the line any longer. Thank you very much, ma'am. I have to leave you here.
So there we are. Okay, he's not rude, but he is firm. He's told it twice. I have to get off the phone, and then he gets off the phone. Okay, so that's what you really got to do. Don't get stuck on the phone. Okay, the other reality of the situation is that you're going to be bouncing back and forth with the office, giving them all the information they need to help you during the incident, aren't you? So you don't want to be stuck on the phone with other people. You don't want to become a source. Okay? This has escalated now, and there's major coverage.
This is CNN Breaking News.
We're picking up a breaking story about a ship, the J-Mar Ray, which was sailing in the Singapore Strait with a full load of dry goods when it collided with an oil tanker, the Ardmore Seafarer. According to the local meteorological office, the weather is misty, with dense fog patches amid squalls from a system of tropical thunderstorms. And it seems the bow has been severely damaged on the J-Mar Ray and a ballast tank has been breached. According to the local Coast Guard, a seafarer who was on the deck of the J-Mar Ray at the time of the collision appears to have gone overboard and is unaccounted for. 2 additional crew members sustained severe injuries in the engine room and galley, including burns. Both have now been taken ashore by helicopter. The collision, which occurred in poor visibility, was immediately reported by both captains to the Maritime Port Authority of Singapore, the Malaysian Maritime Enforcement Agency, and the owners of the cargo in an effort to get help on scene as quickly as possible. There is a smell of oil in the water, and there appears to be considerable pollution, although it is unclear from which ship the oil might be coming from. According to local fishermen who are deeply concerned about their local fishing waters, water is now entering the damaged ballast tank of the J-Mar Ray. Both the Singaporean and Malaysian authorities are conducting a search and rescue operation in the vicinity of the vessels, although the search is being hampered by low visibility. We'll bring you updates on this and other breaking stories here on CNN. With me, Jim Schumer, on the News Hour.
This is CNN, the world's news network.
So just remember, this scenario is pretend, but I can still put an entire news story together with pictures because of the amount of pictures that are online now. Okay, so even if they just find out about it and don't have pictures, I can still run a whole story on this. Okay, now that it's on CNN, what else is going to happen? Who else is going to be interested? Who else is going to know that there is a major incident going on? Come on, folks, you got to tell me. Local authorities will know, yes. Do you have CNN here? Right. So if they're showing that here, who else is going to know? Friends, families. That's exactly right. Friends and families. So their immediate reaction will be to be absolutely terrified for the safety of their loved ones. So they too can reach out as well. Okay? So let's suggest there's another phone call. Staring at your phone is not going to help you, mate. Here we go. Phone's ringing.
Hello? Hello,
Hello?
po.
Hello?
J. Marie ba to? Hello?
Hello? No?
Sino po sila? May napanood po kasi ako ngayon sa CNN. And nandiyan po yung kapatid ko sa barko. Balita po namin, meron po ng mga na-injure dyan. Baka po yung kapatid ko. Sino po sila?
I'm Chief Kaliana, but I'm not in the Jimari.
Where are you, sir? I'm calling J. Marie. Are you...
Maybe you are a wrong number calling.
It's a wrong number? Sir, ito po yung number ng ship na binigay sa akin ng kapatid ko pagka daw may problema. Ito daw po ang tawagan ko. Wala po ako makausap sa sa opisina sa Manila, so kaya tumawag na po ako directly sa inyo.
Maybe, sorry ma'am, maybe you can call again.
Ano pong pangalan nila? Pwede pong malaman para masabi ko rin po sa pamilya namin kung sino yung nakausap ko.
Kaliena.
Kaliena, ano po ang trabaho nila?
Seaman din.
Seaman. Pero saan po kayo? Nasaan po kayo ngayon?
Nasa bahay po.
Sa bahay?
Opo.
Bakit po telephone po ng J. Maria eh? Bakit po kayo nasa bahay? Sir, sisinungaling naman kayo, sir.
Sorry po.
Para niloloko nyo naman po ako.
Gina, it's okay. So as amusing as all that was, and I don't really know what was said, the reality is that if a family member rang you up and you were joking on the phone, straight away we're in trouble because there's a breakdown straight away between the company and the family involved. So who can tell me what you think you should do if it's a family member and not media? Any ideas? Come on, I just want an opinion. An opinion?
Hello, sir. In my good afternoon, sir. In my opinion, sir, it's just like a same procedure, just like how you treat the media, sir, because that is a very confidential matter, and then you should communicate first. The family of the the victim family should be ask for some details. Should ask the the company first before giving any ideas.
Perfect. That's exactly right. If a family member calls, make sure you get their name, number, and the name of the crew member, because that's who the company's going to know. Okay? Don't talk about the incident, but you've got to be a bit gentler because it's family. We can understand your concern. Please let me get your details and get off the phone, and I'll get them straight to our crewing department, and they'll come back to you. Okay? You won't actually know if it's next of kin or not because you don't have the next of kin details, but the crewing department does. There are times when the media might try it, but early on the crewing department will be able to sort that out. But you just have to be a little bit nicer. That's all. But that's exactly right. Your job is still to get off the phone, and if you do take those details down, pass them on as quick as you can, because we don't want to alienate the families. Okay? Right. I'll take that back one. Mr. Cameraman, can you come over here with me, please? Gina, can you come down here, please? The next scenario is you've made it back to port There's huge interest because there's massive pollution. There's still a missing seafarer, and the other two are in critical condition in hospital. So now you've got to make it from the port building to the bus, and there's media in between. So how are you going to do that, can I ask? Let me come down here. Why don't you come and show me how you're going to do it, mate? Please, up you come. Over here. Can you turn the light on? The light? Okay. So if you just stand over here for me. No, we're all right. You just stand over here for me and turn around. Okay, so sir, this is the exit from the port building. That door is the bus. You need to walk to the bus. Okay. Here we go. We have a crew member. Can you tell us what happened in this incident today?
Yes,
Yes,
please
sir. I'm
tell
sorry.
us.
I'm not
You don't have to
authorized
push
give.
me. You don't have to push me.
I'm
Just-
sorry.
Can you tell us?
I'm
Tell
on
us
the way
what's
to the bus
happening.
station. I cannot give any information.
What's
Please, sir,
happening?
you must tell us.
No, I'm
Tell us
sorry.
what's
Sir.
happening.
I'm sorry, ma'am.
What's
I'm
happening?
not authorized to give any information.
Don't push her. That's a
No,
lady.
I'm not pushing.
So look, that wasn't too bad, except you can't touch a female reporter, by the way. That's a no-no, okay? You've just got to be careful about the physicality, that's all. And essentially, what you were trying to say, you just need to say a bit clearer, okay? You know they're going to be there because you can see them there. So have a thought to yourself, what am I going to say? And essentially you say, I'm not the right person to talk to. Please ring the office. The company's pulling out regular statements. Thank you very much. But then, if they're blocking you, say loudly so they can hear it, and it's on camera, excuse me, please, excuse me, please, I just need to get through. You can have your hand to lead, but don't actually physically touch, okay? Don't get aggressive. You're probably going to be pretty stressed if you've just got off this ship. You've got to stay calm and just make it to the bus. That's the biggest thing you can do. They're probably going to use vision of you walking because you're part of the story as a crew, but you don't want to become the star of the story because of your reaction. Never forget, it is you who decides what you say and what you do. It's not the media, okay? So it's about you composing and controlling yourself. Don't do this, okay? Because then you look guilty, and you may have done nothing wrong at all. And it's really important to understand that. Okay, it's really, really hard situation. And I know because I did it. I did it where I was in press pushes where we surrounded the people. Okay, and it's really hard to get out of. I'm not the spokesperson for the company. Please call the office for further information. Try not to stop if you can. Try and keep moving. If you do need to stop, say that and then say, excuse me. But try not to stop because if they do surround you, then it gets a lot harder to get through them. Okay, but just focus on getting to the bus. That's what it's all about. Social media. I'll run this first. This is just a bit of an update on the latest, but you all know about the power of social media. We all do. We talk about it all the time. The trouble is, it keeps getting people into trouble.
The increasing use of social media on many different platforms has been on the rise for the best part of 2 decades. It now touches almost everyone's life in some way because it has become an integral part of how we communicate. From staying in touch with family and friends, to updating the world with what you're doing, to even doing business online. Social media has changed how we live our lives. If Facebook were a country, it would be the largest country in the world at 2.4 billion users. Other social media platforms, including YouTube and WhatsApp, also have more than 1 billion users each. These numbers are huge. There are 7.7 billion people in the world, with at least 3.5 billion of us online. This means social media platforms are used by 1 in 3 people in the world and more than 2/3 of all internet users. Social media has changed the world. The rapid and vast adoption of these technologies is changing how we find partners, how we organize to demand political change, or even influence the stock market. But most importantly, how we access information from the news. Social media thrives on controversial or visually stimulating imagery. Shipping incidents can provide those elements in abundance. As a seafarer, ensuring you're aware that what you do and say on social media, particularly during an incident, could have damaging consequences not only for the company you work for, but also your own personal reputation.
Okay, so there's the effect of social media when you don't even have an incident. You effectively start the incident by what you post. The one on the left, which you probably can't read, was an engineer who believed he'd been overworked. Replacement of the piston took just over 18 hours without rest, lunch and dinner. This is never the way to happen again. I'm tormented with my lower back. And then he calls out the vice president of the company. Okay? Putting that on social media, what do you think the effect is then on the company's ability to continue to trade? What does that put around your QHSE, your occupational health and safety, all of that? Okay? People do have problems, you know, there's no doubt about that, but you need to deal with it in the right way. Don't allow a moment of anger to be forever on social media with the damage that it can cause. The right side as well. I mean, you guys are the seafarers. What happened there? That's all over the front of it. It's like a burst pipe valve or something like that, but they posted it straight away. So what happens there? They questioned the safety standards of the company involved. So if you're an oil major vetting department and you see that, what's that going to do? Social media during an incident, please don't post, okay? This was a really bad one that we had literally in the last 2 months, okay? When they posted it, another seafarer posted this, they actually showed his face when he was alive, and I've covered that up, okay? But he was hit with the ropes and was decapitated. And they put this online. So look at all of you, you're really uncomfortable with this, aren't you? So imagine the friends and family if they see this online. Certainly if they see it before the company's had the opportunity to reach out to them, to speak to them. So make it, and as the leaders on board the vessels, please make it really clear during an incident, there's to be no videos, no photos, no social media. And if there are any, because the company's asked, you need to control it because the repercussions are huge. This was a story that I dealt with very recently, August, and it was they lost main engine power off the coast of India, and one of the young seafarers got scared, basically, because they were in a storm. So he went online and said, Mayday, Mayday, we're stranded, middle of the rough seas, south of Chittagong. Crew are fainting and falling, injuries. We plead all, read this message, please help us. At no stage were they in any serious danger. Certainly, it wasn't a great situation to be in, but, their lives weren't at risk. But he posted that, and then it was picked up by Shakti Singh Gohil, who's a member of parliament in India. He then kicks it along because he's got 6,812 views, and it goes up to another MP, and the guy below is the Indian National Congress, and he's got over 12,000 followers. So that one post has escalated that quickly. Okay, so you've got to be really, really careful in an incident, even a minor one, that no one's putting stuff out there that's going to create this kind of hysteria. We were lucky on this because the management company involved was speaking with the Indian Navy, and when the MPs raised it with the Indian Navy, they said, don't be ridiculous. That's someone being silly. And then they all started taking it down. But you can see how quickly it escalates. If you're asked to take a photo for the office, be very careful and control who it goes to. And if you're in the office, don't put it on the email that's got 100 people on it, manning agents, everybody else, because they get leaked. So the one on the left is the front Altair that had mines put on it, and the nearest port state asked for a photo. They provided it to the port state, and they then leaked it to Sky News. The one on the right is the one APIS, lost 1,856 containers in the middle of the Pacific. I worked on that one, and they leaked that a week before it got into port. So by the time I got into port, there were drones everywhere, camera crews everywhere. It absolutely blew the story up. So again, If they ask you to take it, that's cool, but make sure you're sending it to one person in the office and someone that you know is absolutely going to do the right thing. Don't get your other guys to go and take it for you. You guys take responsibility and make sure it's a small window that you're sending it to. Lastly, but certainly not least, we've now had cases in the US where, and this was one where a vessel collided with a barge and then ran into the port facilities and damaged the port facilities. And after the fact, at the legal proceedings after it was all finished, the lawyers for the port applied to have access to the crew's phones and their WeChat conversation. And that was evidence that was used against the crew themselves about their actions. So make sure you people know that if you're sitting there typing to each other, Jesus, that was close, or God, man, you should have turned right instead of turning left, that can be used against you in certain jurisdictions. So basically, just don't post during an incident. That's me, folks. Hopefully I haven't bored you. Any questions off anybody? No? Okay.
Maybe only a comment from my side, just an addition and an appendage to whatever you said. We should not forget the risk that is involved in posting something on the social media, because apart from all that he has said, there is always a risk of cybersecurity. There could be people who could be imposters, who could be using this social media posts and using it against the company, or using it against in case of a crew member, extortion money. I mean, there could be so many issues that can come out of it. So there is one more reason why this should not be done. I mean, just an addition.
Well, you've got your new fancy, what is it, Starburst or whatever? Yeah, Starlink. So you're going to get greater access. So it's about you guys having greater control over about what you put on there. Thank you for your time. Much appreciated.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Lee, for that insightful presentation. And I think it's time for us to have a short break, a short tea break. Can we break for tea and come back in 15 minutes, say probably 5 p.m.? Can we come back at 5? Thank you. Hello again. Can we have the audience back to their seats, please? I would like to welcome Captain Manu Bembe for his presentation. Captain Manu.
How many minutes? नहीं जल्दी कर दूंगा वो मेरे को सिखा देना Good evening. Everybody, please pay attention, because this is one thing which is we have, it's a backbone of the company. SMS, safety management system, which runs and it actually governs the company. How it has been formulated, why there is a change, why there is a realignment, why it is advanced, these questions are there in everybody's mind. So I will clarify each questions before I proceed further. Why this is there, why SMS has to be advanced, why SMS has to be one. So we have to understand the principle behind. This universe runs on the principle of singularity, not duality. Hope everybody understand what is singularity function. No. Is it? Singularity is basically one. So the universe runs on the principle of one. If we have two commands at one location, it doesn't work. In one holster, we cannot put two guns, two revolvers. There will be only one. One ship cannot have two masters. You know what will happen if there are two masters. One ship cannot have two chief engineers in command. You know what will happen. More the diversities, more the confusion. So how to stop this confusion? If you see the universal law, everybody's God is same, one. My God, your God, his God, her God is not different, it's one. Then only the system works perfectly. So we had to realign the system because we had the system. It's not that we didn't have the system. We had hands, we had legs, we had eyes, everything was there, but everything was separated out. Plus, we were growing, we had vision to grow. And when we look at growth, we can have any kind of assets. Not only bulk carrier, not only containers, we can have anything. We should be ready for everything, whether it is tanker, whether it is gas carrier, whether it is obo or modus, any kind of vessel or seismic vessels, bulk carriers, containers, anything. So SMS has to be made in such a way so that it caters for all, so that nobody can just deviate from here. And that is how in 2021, dry BMS had to come. Dry BMS, I think you must be knowing what is dry BMS, which is actually not being, it's not mandatory, but industry is looking at this. So dry BMS had to come, which is just very, 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 very parallel to TMSA. TMSA, I'm sure you will not be knowing, it is tanker manager self-assessment. Similarly is the dry BMS. So when the dry BMS came, so they said we will, there are lot many companies, more than 500 companies, they are looking into dry BMS. So going forward in future, dry BMS will be coming. But what we have done is from previous SMS, we have realigned in line with TMSA. So TMSA is one of the very upgraded standard where we have various layers. We can go up to 1, 2, 3, 4. So 4 is the top quartile. We can reach to the best excellence one. So there is a grading. It is again not mandatory, but easy to understand. If it is something is easy to understand, easy to follow. So please pay attention to each and every slide has meaning, including the colors, including the words have meanings. So I will let you know the words, what words, but to align it to the industry so that we can last for at least another decade. And whichever ship tomorrow, if we have to take over a gas carrier, we can. Tanker, we can. MODU operations, yes, we can. FPSO, yes, we can. So we cannot say we cannot. Under one umbrella, everything can be catered. Only thing we have to have first the platform ready. So it is ready. So it took time. We have taken a lot of feedback from the industry people, senior people, sailors, and of course, together we have formed this SMS. So this is realigned. And definitely there is a PDCA circle which has to continue. So that everybody in the office, and thanks to management, they decided and they thought that this is necessary for our further growth. And how the growth has been, because if you're growing and if you don't in the same ratio, you do the things in a righteous sense, we cannot achieve the objective. So very important is to know company's vision, mission, aim, and objective. Without aim and objective, if we are working, we can never succeed. We have to have aim. We have to have objective in front of us. Then only we can reach, we can work towards it. So advanced, realigned, simplified TMSA compliant safety management system and fleet performance. So first we talk about the safety management system, how it has been realigned, how it is easy, so that it is just like our body. It's just like our body. We have to understand how our body works. Similarly, this system works. So, as I said, SMS has been developed not by one person. A lot of brain, lot of mind goes behind making a structure. And structure is not 1 page or 2 pages. It is more than approximately 2,750 pages, the procedure itself. And then we have more than 500 checklists, which are included in the system to support. They are just guidance. Just remember, company does a guidance, but actual people who are working on scene, they have the very important role to play. Very important role to play is the sailor. And thanks to you people who have done miracles in last 1 year. In last 1 year, we have grown. The graph has gone very, very sharp up. To sustain that graph, we have to, there is not one man's job. There is a teamwork which has worked behind. And how it has worked, you can see in the further slides. We have 13 chapters now. Earlier, we had a different heads, and then one SPM, one policy manual, one quality management system manual, all separate. So how one person can comply with it easily? Cannot. But when we put under one umbrella, if you see the first chapter, the leadership and safety management system, that is a key, that is called apex, that's the head, our head. So we have to have, that has ISM code, that has got MLC 2006, that has got ISPS code, that has industry best practices, that has got FSI requirements, many requirements of SOLAS, MARPOL, everything included in it. But chapter 1 cannot be so vast, otherwise everything other chapters have nothing to do. So chapter 1 is an apex chapter, which is common to all. And after that starts is the shore management. Whenever we have, first of all, we have to have head, that is their apex. And after that, we have to start getting the resources to form a company. Who is going to run? So first we need DOC. First we need shore people to form a company. Then only we can go next step. So it is stepwise. So first is the manuals ready, so that we can get the DOC, document of compliance, and then we move on to the recruitment of shore people and how to manage them. Once we have done that, then next question comes is whom we are going to put on the vessel. So they are crew. And crew cannot be normal crew. Crew has to be refined crew who knows the job. We cannot put anybody in the position. So we have to have a righteous person in a righteous seat. Then only the system has to work perfectly. Okay, so we have crew management, crew on board, how their behavior, how things has to be done with them, whether MLC compliant, everything will be dealt in chapter 3. Then comes if the vessel is not maintenance wise or hull wise or machinery wise ready, including cargo operations, then how are we going to run? So we have to have maintenance chapter, critical equipment, critical spares that should be ready. And that should be identified. People make it one common and make for whole company. It is not possible. One ship is not, even those sister ships, they are not identical. So we have to have ship-specific critical equipment, critical operations, critical spare list available. That should be there in our mind. Maintenance standards, whether it is plant maintenance system or is Excel based, but we have plant maintenance system which is computer based. So it should be working fine. And whoever is responsible for it, they should make sure that it works. If some flaw, something wrong, there is a way for system improvement. We have to improve the system, as I told you, PDCA. Then comes is a navigation safety. Once maintenance-wise vessel is okay, reliability is there, everything is there, then we have to navigate from one port to another because it's commercial. So we have to load something, we have to make voyages. So safety of navigation is very important again, which goes next in line. So they are aligned with each other. So now we have done the navigation from port A to port B, I have reached safely, but now I have to do cargo operations. That means operation. Chapter 6 is operations. Operation doesn't mean only the cargo operation. Cargo operations is only not the operation. We have bunkering operation, we have mooring operation, we have anchoring operations. They are all dealt with in the next chapter. Then comes is a management of change. The way we are growing, we will have new blood coming into the system. When more people comes, maybe they do not know our system. Or maybe we will hire maybe tanker man into bulk carrier. So then we have to do MOC, management of change, and that require risk assessment and documentation. Not for showing to people, it is actually own good. It is our own good, so that we have not missed out any point. We don't have to prove anybody, we have to prove ourselves. Everybody has their own individual journey. So we have to prove ourselves, not to anybody else. If I prove to myself, if I know who am I, what I have to do, I will do right. Automatically other will follow. But I must know whether I know right. Next, if you are running a ship, you can have an incident, then we can have an accident, anything can happen. So we have separate chapter for that, chapter 8, that is investigation, reporting, analysis, how we do. That has to be done. All the management staff on board, chief officer, master, chief engineer, second engineer, they must know how to do incident investigation. Cannot say, I don't know. Because it's a part of you, you should know. And if you do not know, then you have to work for it. And that is why we have in the training department, we try to give the training for incident investigation. So that you know how to do RCA, root cause analysis. If the root cause analysis is not done correctly, the incident is again going to happen. It is bound to happen again. So we have this chapter where reporting, how to do it, how to, their guidelines, everything is there in this chapter, chapter 8. Then chapter 9, it's totally based on monitoring, fleet monitoring, how to monitor the fleet. We have implemented everything. ISM code requires, where is the proof? We talk, but there is no proof, doesn't work. So we have something called safety management and fleet monitoring in chapter 9. So that has to work. How to verify? So we have to, from ashore, we are giving all the support to the people on board so that they get to know that somebody is behind to help them, to assist them. It's a company function where we have to assist the sailors. You have plenty of jobs, but we have to verify what we have created that is working in line or not. So like permit to work system, your PPE, your risk assessments, your hazards related to benzene, related to H2S, toxic gases, or any other thing which is there in chapter 9, including how to report. It is there in chapter 9. Chapter 10 talks about energy and environment. So we have divided into two sections this chapter, 10A and 10B. 10A is environment management, and then we have energy management, 10B. This was not there before, but now the demand of the world is that we have to have this. So everybody has to read this, go through it. You find something not understanding, must discuss with the TSI, MSI, or QHSE superintendent, or anybody, including me. Then chapter 11, contingency. We can have contingency, so we have to be ready for any kind of emergency on board, and we have to be mentally ready for it. As earlier said, that this will not happen to me, that will not happen. It will happen. And when you think that something will not happen to you, that is the very moment, be ready for it. It is going to happen to you. That is called complacency. That is called overconfidence. Overconfidence kills. Confidence wins. Overconfidence kills. So never have overconfidence. Have confidence. Then chapter 12, we talk about all the inspections, audits, and then analysis. We have to do analysis. We have to do the management review meetings so that where we were, as I told you, PDCA, plan, do, act, and correct. So PDCA has to do, that is only with chapter 12. And remaining one chapter which is remained is a maritime security, including cyber security. That is a final chapter of shipping which is dealt here. Everywhere we have HRA, we have VRA, we have somewhere where the stowaways are coming. So all these areas are defined. Cyber security is a new topic that is also being defined. Classification comes. Classification just is an actor, verifier, just to see. They will check your system just in 8 hours and they say yes or no or good or bad. They really don't know. Who knows the system? The people who are working with it. So we have to make sure that what we have learned, we have to implement correctly. But it is time not to learn. Now the time which is going on is the time to unlearn. We have learned a lot. We have put so many things in our mind, but we have never implemented it correctly. What is the reason? Because I don't know what I have to do. That's why Vinay sir said, know your ship. Know your ship. Know yourself first. Before knowing the ship, you have to know yourself. If I don't know myself, what I have to do, why I'm here for, I cannot know my ship. I have to know myself. What is my purpose as a master? What are my duties? And then I have to see my own images, where we are standing today in this world because of our own thought process. It's the reflection of our own thoughts, what we are seeing in the world today. Don't you think that these are not reflections of our phone? Yes, it is. It's a deep thinking. First thing is a thought, and that has to be powerful. It was told earlier that we become weak or we start to think negative, or something starts to happening if we think something negative. So thought process is a key here. If my thought process is elevated, it is knowing what it has to do, it is not negative, my body also will react in the same manner. But moment I put one seed of negativity here, my whole body also starts to work in the same rhythm. And it will constantly degrade itself. So it will constantly increase. So that is why we always say, think positive, do positive, elevated thoughts. So thoughts are very important. Values, company has good values, transparency, honesty, mutual respect. If you see our base, I have joined the organization just a year back. I was working with some different organizations. I was consultant to some organizations, but this is true. If we cannot give respect, we do not have transparency, we do not have honesty, everybody will make big, nice diagrams, graphs. It's all Excel based. Anybody can make it. We have to understand how the success comes. Success comes with this. If we do it in real sense. That means if I have transparency, I have honesty. But what is honesty? Honesty is nothing but is a truthfulness. But how the truthfulness will come? Truthfulness will come only when our thoughts, our words, our actions, they are all aligned to one. If they're not aligned to one, sometimes you will get success and many times you will get no success. But if they are aligned, they are same, 100% guaranteed success. Maybe little more time, but the success will come to you. Transparency, the whole world is forced by the nature to be transparent, day by day, minutes by minutes, second by second. In the time fabric, these are the important things which we have to understand. Nobody can just become big. And becoming big and sustaining is another big challenge. To sustain, we have to have our principles taken care of by individual. Not that somebody will do it, then I will do it. No. I have to do it first, do it again, and third time, I don't have to tell people. Sorry to say, I cannot teach anybody. Everybody is their own teacher and everybody has enormous power. But we do not know how to use our inner power. And that is the reason today the world is suffering from depression. Material things can be treated with materials. We can have medicine, we can cure the body diseases. But what about mind? Where is mind in this body? Mind is not there in this body. Mind is somewhere else. Anybody can tell me where is the mind? No, mind is not part of this matter. So today people have mental diseases for which no material medicine can work. No medicine. That is why empathy, sympathy, all these things only works as a medicine for mental and mind diseases. You cannot see them with naked eyes. You cannot see mind with the naked eyes. You can see body organ with the naked eyes or with microscope. Mind you cannot see with the microscope or electron microscope. Then vision, operating clean, safe and happy ships. And that is what everybody in the office, we want this to be complied with till the end. No matter how and how many people have to work, but people are working and trying to make sure that this vision is complied with. And the same vision is yours. My vision and the sailor's vision is not different. I told you one. If my vision and your vision is different, that means on a whole, I will be unsuccessful. So we have visions, operating clean, safe and happy ships. That speaks by our work. And that is how the customers advocates us. And when the customer becomes your own advocate, we don't want to achieve anything more than that. Mission, sustain high quality operation and stability, ethical and dedicated cost-effective approach, because we know where the world is going. Things are becoming expensive. We have to take care of whatever money we spend. A single penny should be accounted for. We have to be economical. But not only in terms of spending money, also in terms of spending time. Time and money both have to be economical. So we have to take care of both, which we do. So everybody should have in their mind and in your mind these vision, mission engraved. Then we have objective. As I told you, we need to have objective. We need to have policies because they are the keys, aim and objective. If we have aim and objective, then we can set KPIs, key performance indicators, by which we can do weighment of our own work, whether we are going up or we are going down or we are parallel to what it was before. So we have to make sure that we have to have a continuously improve safety and quality management skills, ensure emergency preparedness, assess all identify risk and establish appropriate controls, establish and update procedures, comply with regulations, provide structured training, prudent budgeting. That is how I said time and money, both are money. Both are money and both are equally important to us. Everybody has to go back home safely. We have come to the ship for earning money and to enjoy that when we are in vacation. So how to do? These are procedures, these are just guidelines, basics. We have to go into the reverse engineering. That's why I said, whatever we have learned, we have to unlearn first. Then only we can put something new there. Some wrong things we have learned and we continue to follow. So we should be ready to unlearn. We should accept whatever mistakes I had done in past. From today onward, I will not do it. From this moment onward, I will not do it. And once you have that dedication in your mind, trust me, it will work. Try it out. It will work because you have to think about your family also who are back home. And family is not there only back home. We, UMS, also your family. Also the people on board are family. They look at master, they look at chief engineer, that they are going to help us. And we have to do the required for them, for us to go in a righteous path. KPIs, these are set KPIs. Harm to persons, that means how much harm company can take. Near miss and non-conformity reporting, pollution incident, internal and external audits, findings from external inspections, best practices, number and severity of interruptions of processes, financial performance. All these are KPI matters which we have been using and we will continue to use as a reference point and for our further growth. Policies, there are only few of the policies here. And policies are again as per ISM code. ISM code has only two objectives: safety. When I say safety, that means safety of life, safety of cargo, and safety of property, and environment protection. MLC 2006, again, it is related to people on board working, their hygiene, their rights. So MLC 2006 under ILO. And then we have ISPS under the ISPS code, so last chapter 11. So it is all there in the system, in the SMS. So policies are all as per the manual itself. Whatever we talk about MLC, so there has to be some policy there. Talking about environment, there has to be environment protection policy. We have a quality 9001 to 2015 system, ISO. So we have a quality policy. ISO 14001-2015, again 14,000 policy. All these policies are because of what we have in the system. So we have to comply with it. And this is what is basically in the SMS. Very simple, very simplified, one structure, one line, and next step, whatever has to be there, it has to be aligned. And that is how our thought process also has to be aligned. Very easy, simplified, because everything is in a one location. It is not in a two location, three locations, singularity. It works on the principle of singularity. Then we have a fleet performance. I do not like to talk anything negative about anybody. Moment we talk negative or think negative, the atmosphere also gives me negative, and things doesn't happen the way they are supposed to happen. So we will see fleet performance, how it has happened, and what are the things we have to improvise. It's not that we have not got the observations or findings during the PSC, but how we have to deal with it. That is very important. Solution, we have to have solution. Problems are there. Everywhere there is a problem. 95% problems you'll find all around. 5% solutions. But if we know, okay, the problems are there, accept it. But then for every problem, there is a solution. And if I know the solution, and if I work towards it with a stable and elevated mind, success is mine. There has to be balance between humility and administration, authority. There has to be balance. If that balance is there, trust me, success is there. This is UMS growth chart from 2012 till 2023. So you can see in the graph how we have grown. And last 1 year, 2002 to 2023, from 53 ships we have, that is, this data is till September end, 75 ships. And if you see the ratio, what we have done, induction of resources. If we don't have resources, we cannot work. So at the same time, we have, this is a thought process again, and pre-thinking that this is what is going to happen. So we included technical superintendent. We made another unit, 6th unit, 6 technical superintendent, 3 marine superintendent, 2 QHSC and support staff 19. We took in last 1 year. And now as we are increasing, again, we are increasing this strength also, because man has to be there. Somebody has to work. Somebody cannot work 24 hours. We have to sleep. We are human beings. So it needs rest. But as earlier also said, rest also is defined in terms of how much, whether I'm sleeping deep or I'm just in the REM sleep. If I'm in the REM sleep, the sleep is not sleep. I'm still tired. So I have to get the deep sleep. That how that can come? When we have freedom of mind. If my mind is stuck somewhere, I cannot have a good sleep. No matter. That is why before sleeping, he was telling 3 good thoughts, whatever, and during the day, at least 3 things positive you think. Yes. And whatever you have done in the whole day, unwind it off. Delete unusual and not required files, garbage. If I don't clean the garbage is going to get collected in my mind again and again and again, days and months. And then finally, I'm a victim of depression. So this is how we have grown. Induction of resources, they were all aligned with the growth and required on-job training we have carried out, because we know these are the areas where we will slip down. Because the new people are coming, they don't know UMS. They are coming from the different backgrounds. So they will bring, we know in our mind, they will bring their own existing attitude. They will bring their own work style, everything they will bring along. So we have to teach them. And we cannot teach them just that, okay, just read this manual and then finish. No, hand to hand, hands on. Until unless we don't do that, it will not work. Because everybody is individual and every individual has a different speciality. No 2 fingers are same, no twins are identical. This is what is a good thing or very wonderful thing about the human body. 2 televisions can be same, identical, but 2 human, not identical, not 100% identical. Even from the same womb, same time birth, still not same. This is class finding in last 5 years. I'll just tell you what is this class findings whenever class goes on board. So this is only for the DNV database. So whenever the class goes on board, they always put some comments, whether they are going for UWI or whether they are going for some occasional survey or whether they are visiting for any reason on the ship for annuals, they put their comments in the system. Now this ship I went, what are the comments. And this comment ratio, if you see, we have quite less. Industry marking, if you see, for the 2023 DNV for other fleets, altogether it is 11.648. But for UMS, it is 0.259. So that's quite less. That means we are doing right. But again, as I said, the data accuracy cannot be complete because some vessels are with NK, some vessels are with ABS. So it is DNV data. So for them, from the DNV website, I have taken out. So it is definitely good to go. But that we should not think, we should, again, I said, we have to have a confidence. We should not have a overconfidence. In last 1 year, October 2022 to September 2023, totals of 168 PSC were carried out. And out of that, 116 inspections gave rise to 0 deficiencies. And these are the names of the master and chief engineers who were there on the vessel. And congratulations to them. And one of you or few of you must be available here. So congratulations once again. You have done a wonderful job and we have to continue. And that continue doing is basically, I have to continue upgrade myself. So total of 69.05% clean result, which we got. Of course, we got the observations also I will discuss, but first good points. And then I will discuss about what observations we got and we should look into how to avoid them. So this is a second sheet for the master and chief engineer who got nil deficiencies. So quite a lot numbers of master and chief engineers. That means really large number of people have really worked very hard and made their vessel. And some of the people I have seen, though I could not reflect it, few places, one person has done 5 inspections, one master, chief engineer, and 5 inspections nil. That means they are really good. This is Thetis breakups, how we have got the observations, findings during the PSC inspections. On the top row, if you see 11104 rescue boats, there are 6 times repetition. That means 6 vessels have got same observation related to the same topic. And this is an area of concern. Area of concern, this chart, that's why I said analysis, chapter 12, audits, inspection, and analysis. So this is the analysis part. So this analysis clearly shows me that 6 times something is repeated. That means something I have to do, whether by sending you information sharing or company circular, or you yourself have to think about it. That is how we have been sending PSC results on a monthly and 3 monthly data also, so that you are aware of, don't think that these are just a piece of paper. It's important to you. So because you are the people who make the company. Together we make the company. Today everybody is putting the quote also which says, together we sail. So togetherness is very important. Alone I cannot do anything. Alone nobody can do anything. Credit taking alone, not a good idea. So rescue boat, then CIC is going on. It is still valid till 30th of November. So anybody knows what is the CIC going on at presently? What is the CIC going on presently for PSC? Anybody? Anybody? firefighting. So that is why if you see firefighting, they are checking very closely, and that is why fire doors opening in fire resisting divisions, we got the 6-time repetition because they are checking very closely. Rescue boat, that means something is not right. We will see in the observation. So this chart is clearly showing what is happening. Abandoned ship drills, then storage and provision of lifeboats, emergency source of power, emergency generators, hull corrosions. They are all up to 4, then 3, then 2. This is a Thetis code where we have got 3-time repetition. I've not captured the 2, so only 3, 4, 5, 6. So you can see by yourself where we have done. Vessel port side, starboard side, ship side, port side, corroded, need maintenance. This is a PSC finding. Fire in line, fire line support brackets in way of cargo hold number 5, found wasted and damaged. Master instructed to take corrective action and inspect similar fittings. So you can see many. I will pass on the slide to next so that we can see in the 6 where we got 6 Thetis code, which is maximum number of repetitions, and we have to do something about it. So keep in your mind when you go on the ship, make sure all these things, this will be shared to the vessels also. So make sure this does not exist on your vessel. But this is not the end of it. I'm telling you. The many things which we have in the industry, we have a lot of inspections going on. Some inspections are unjust or just. I'm not going into that. I have to be just. I have to be justified. When I sleep during the night, I should be clear what I am supposed to do today. I have done it well. And thank God, my day has passed and sleep, so that I get the deep sleep and the real sleep, so that even I have slept for 4 hours, I'm again fresh. This is 4. Various hatch combings, channels, drain, non-return valves found frozen in either open or closed position. Example, hold 4, hold 3. Seawater piping on both coolers for auxiliary leaks and excessively corroded. So basically, with the corrosion, if you see on top, scuppers, inlet and discharge, abandoned ship drill, firefighting equipments and appliances, all these are topics and respective observations. Again, 4, it was a long chart for 4 repetition. 5 was only 1, 07105, fire doors as per the CIC. So self-closing doors, self-closing fire doors, self-closing fire doors, self-closing devices, hinges of fire doors are related to fire. Don't worry, you will be getting this on your ships also. I will be sharing this so that you all know about it. This is what is very important, which is the maximum number repetition. That is code 6. So all, if you see, covers, again, hatchway, portable tarpaulins, then ready availability of firefighting equipment, again as per CIC, and rescue boat. Last 6, if you see, canopy light for rescue boat not lit immediately. Rescue boat upper limit switch defective. Drain valves of rescue boat not attached to the rescue boat by a lanyard, a chain, or other subsuitable means. Rescue boat cannot start properly during inspection. Rescue boat, which is not self-righting when capsized, does not have handholds on the underside of the hull. Again, this observation is a little controversial observation. So, but we do not want to go into controversy, but just to tell you in the fact, this was forced onto UMS. We cannot fight. We try not to fight with the PSC. I don't want to tell which place, what not, but finally we had to change the rescue boat. Makers is telling this is compliant. We can know by seeing that it is compliant, but we had to finally change. So don't worry about that. But whatever is in my hand, that I must do correctly. That is what is requested from everybody and anybody here. How to effectively implement? This is a solution. And this solution must be there in your mind. Just by thinking I will be able to implement, we cannot implement unless I have the righteous knowledge. So knowledge is the key here. If I have the righteous knowledge, I have a wide spectrum of knowledge in regards to any element, then only I can suitably implement it. So I have to have knowledge. So that knowledge is the key here and the first thing which we require.
Sorry, Manuji. For the PSC record that we have, I would like to say a few things. You see, as I mentioned in my opening speech today, we all understand that the last year or last year has been an extremely difficult or different year from the previous years. The number of vessels that we have added this year, they were all managed previously by someone else. And the reason why these vessels came to us was for a reason that they were not managed well. Change of management is an expensive affair, and no one does it because they like us. Of course, they like us, but the people or the vessels are moved between ship managers even though there is no change of ownership because the vessels are not managed well. Let's accept it. Now, saying that, we also realize that many of you sitting here have been on these vessels, and we collectively acknowledge the hard work, the long hours, and dedicated effort that all of you have put in to bring up the condition of the vessel. It is not by chance or by luck that a ship owner would add more vessels to us after he has not seen any improvement in the condition. So your hard work was recognized. Your efforts were recognized. Once they were recognized, we received more vessels and there was more hard work to be done. And all of us here collectively acknowledge that. Now, in the process, obviously, we have been hit by the Port State Control inspection record, which is not the same as previous years. Now, you may say that because of the condition of the vessels how we have taken over, the record is not so bad. I would little bit argue on that. Please understand that we are not measured. Unfortunately, we are not measured by the hard work we put in. The result card would be the Port State Control inspections, off hires, and everything else that we discussed this morning. I understand that your hard work does not reflect in here, and therefore we need to work harder to make sure that whatever you are doing, whatever hard work you're putting in, actually gets reflected on the result card. It is important. It is important that we realize and understand that when a PSC inspector comes on board, you guys, the masters and chief engineer, you should follow the PSC inspector because it's your hard work. Yeah. I will give you an example. We have had a case whereby the PSC inspector comes on board, master does not follow the PSC inspector, and then once the result, when the PSC inspector is writing the report, the master gets angry and does not sign the report. He goes on to crumple the report and throw it away. A port state control inspector has been treated like this. I do not want to name the vessel or the master or anybody. All I'm trying to say here is we need to protect the owner's interest. We have to make sure that we do whatever is required to be done, and there all of you get 100 out of 100. You have been putting in a lot of effort. You also need to make sure that you write your exams well. You study hard, you need to write your exams well, because no one is going to ask you how much you studied. People are going to ask you how you fared in your exam. Do you agree? All of you agree this? Has anybody asked you how much did you study for your exams? No. Did you pass? Yes. That's all. That is all that matters. Unfortunately, I repeat, all of you are doing a wonderful job. We have owners sitting here who would say that you guys are putting in extremely hard work. It should reflect. It's for your benefit. Don't let your hard work go in vain. If you do not satisfy the PSC requirements or PSC inspection, if you do not handle them well, it is only going to reflect badly on you. For some time, people would say, oh, okay, don't worry. Your people are hardworking. 1 time, 2 time, 3 time, 4th time. 1 time we can say, oh, bad inspector. 2nd time, bad luck. 3rd time, bad day. 4th time, Santa Maria. Please understand, we can work with consolation prizes. You know what is a consolation prize? Yeah, you did not win, but we recognized your effort. But that is not going to take you far, or that is not going to take us far. We are in the same boat, lifeboat. Remember lifeboat? Yeah, you and me, we are in the same lifeboat. I'm pained because your efforts are not recognized. Okay, can I have your kind commitment that you would make sure that after studying hard, you would write a good exam? Can I have your confirmation, please?
Yeah, you can raise hand at least. So that
Okay,
we know.
wonderful idea. Raise hands. That's a brilliant. Yeah, can we all raise hands and say in solidarity that we would do our best when it comes to writing our exam in front of a port state control inspection? Yeah, can we do that? Thank you.
Thank you,
Good energy. Thank you. 6 o'clock, this energy level. I'm truly amazed. Thank you so much. Yeah, really, I admire your effort. I really respect all of you for being so bonded with the organization and this company and everything that we do. Thank you so much. Great. Thanks.
Sorry, I will not take more slides, but just I'll pass it on so that this is a solution. So solution you must copy. This solution is a very, very wonderful solution. First, knowledge, then you have to understand. Just by knowledge, you have plenty knowledge, but you don't understand single letter, useless. First knowledge, then understand, then recognize it. Everything has been put in so that you have to have a discriminative power. What is right, what is wrong? Ask yourself. Every master, every chief engineer, you are well qualified. You really know what is right, what is wrong. Ask your heart, it will tell you. So recognize it with a discriminative power. You have to increase. Then experience. Experience is the best teacher, we say. Once I have experienced something, there is no better and best teacher than my experience. For example, if you have tasted salt, and next time I give you sugar, and I tell you, this is bitter in taste, you will die, but you will never admit that this is going to be sour in taste. Because you know it, you know the taste, that is experience. Experience is the best teacher. So experience yourself. You have your past experiences. You have others' experiences. Use them. We have to do our own reflective. We have to see our own reflections. Past reflections, present reflections, future, I don't know. Past reflections are there, present reflections are there, must utilize. Then stabilizing. Not that immediately you do anything in rush. Stabilization, balancing is very important. In 2014, Shell companies, they introduced reflective learning. So reflective learning is your own reflections. Everybody's reflection put on the table, work together, make solutions which are your own, governed by your own, and action by yourself. So use this tool of reflective learning. And then stabilize. That means slow acting mind is always gives the right solution than the fast acting mind. Remember this. This is a principle. Moment we start to think very fast and we take decision, 99.9% decisions are going to be wrong. But if I think slowly, cool down, and think, and then take the decision, decisions sometimes may be wrong, but most of the time is correct. Just like CPU, if CPU is overheated or hard disk is spinning at a very high speed, it cannot search. It will keep searching, keep on spinning only, or otherwise the computer will hang. So that is very important, slow acting mind. In any kind of distress, any kind of situation, contingency, cool down first. Always detach yourself from the situation. Then only situation awareness can come to you. Otherwise, situation awareness will not come to you. You have to detach from the scene. You cannot do your own surgery. Somebody has to be outside, a doctor or anybody who can perform the surgery. So you have to get out of the circle first. To know what is right or wrong, I have to be out and detached. Think and look at things as a detached observer. This is again, as I said, a principle of PDCA, but in a different form. There is number one, proper implementation of company policies. Then second, compliance by ship and office staff. Then quality of communication and reporting. Then enforcement and consistency. And fifth one is follow-up and review effectiveness. So this is just nothing but is a PDCA, but in a different format. These are basic principles. I used to learn, and somebody used to tell, if your car, you're putting proper time coolant, proper time oil, gear oil, engine oil, our car never gives trouble. Basics. So if basics are done, effectively, trust me, you will not have, or you don't have to face any contingency on the ship. Trust me, if you do religiously and truthfully. Truthfully means my thought process, my words, my action has to be same, not different. Then focus on safety, training, and emergency preparedness. Must do it. I have seen, in fact, in last many years, I have done maybe 280 or 300 near about inspections on the ships. So I see people have forgotten this emergency preparedness. Master is standing on the bridge, he doesn't know what is happening. Sometimes you keep on the chief officer on the bridge, go and see yourself what people are doing. Debrief, very important. But debrief can be effective only when you have seen with your eyes. Not somebody tells you, sir, yes, sir, everything was fine, very nice. But you have not seen, you are not the eyewitness. Then something is remained there. And that one day will become incident. These again some photographs for the good practices, training emergency preparedness. This is for a hatch opening, training. So training actually is very important. So on-job training, when you do with the hand, it is always much better. The knowledge gets imbibed into you. Reporting, communication, effective communication. I think since morning, I think this is the fourth time, I think, telling that reporting has to be quick and effective. Not that too much talking, to the point, but it has to be fast. Don't keep the whole weight on your head and shoulders. Pass it on. Pass it on to shore. Good housekeeping. Same way I was telling that car, good engine oil changing right time, coolant changing right time, water changing right time. Car does not give trouble. Same thing. If you follow these principles, simple principles, the problems automatically becomes less. Implementation of SMS. Know your SMS. First know yourself, then know the SMS, then know the ship. That's why the knowledge is very important. Without knowledge, you cannot reach to the end. That is the first step. Again, good housekeeping. Best management practices towards good inspection. Be ethical and transparent. Very important. You have to be ethical also. As Minaji said, if your master doesn't mean that you should not go with the PSC inspector. You should go. You should be ethical also. Not that, okay, one AB, OS, please bring PSC inspector on the bridge or master's room. That's not right way. You give respect, you take respect. It's very simple. Rotation of experienced crew on the similar vessel and trading pattern. That's what we have been trying. But since the induction of the ships are more, so we have to really juggle with it. Retention of good and experienced crew to add to our pool, which we are always ready. And that is how in last I think 1.5 months ago, Anurag sir and Alok sir had come to, and I think Sanjay ji also, they had come to Philippines to search for the people. They interviewed themselves, not that somebody else were told that, okay, you go and select the people. They themselves came, being a directors, and they searched for the people. They interviewed them, and we took them in the company management. Then upgrading the skill of the crew through training, and that is how we have Captain Glenn here. He's very well experienced, and he's really forming a good thing, and we are discussing actually, in fact, every day, day to day, day in, day out, and we're trying to build you from the beginning itself, because you're new to UMS, so we want you to know right thing from the day one. Nurturing a safety culture through training and sharing information, which we do. As I told you, these slides also I will share with you on the ship. Promoting respect, harmony, and teamwork between crew of various nationalities. As we grow, today maybe we have 3 or 4 nationalities. Going forward, we have 5 or 6 nationalities. Then we should know how to deal with it. And very easy. If I know myself, I can deal with anybody. If I don't know myself, it's very difficult to deal with anybody. And this is the last slide, colorful slide, and every color has a meaning. Thank you for your kind attention, because attention is very much required. If you're not attentive, you're not cautious, you're not checking yourself, success cannot come. So we have to be attentive. Then understanding. After the knowledge, I said you have to understand the knowledge. So then you have to be understanding and effective implementation. So implementation is green. You have to make it green. It has to be regular. It's not one time done and finish. Regular, it's green. Constantly keep doing, keep doing. services for owners and associated clients as one family. So end is with one family. As I told you, the family back home is not only the family, we are all family. And this bond has to be increasing, and only one thing which can keep on making this bond strong is the mutual love with proper understanding. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Manuji, for your kind advice and your good presentation. I can leave the floor open for any questions that you all might have towards any of the presentations in a while. I thank all the presenters for today. It was such an interesting day because of all the presentations and all the sessions that we've had. Each one better than the next, and so informative, so encouraging. So thank you all the presenters for all your presentations. We have a few minutes left. We can leave the floor open for any question and answer sessions as of now. Yeah.
Regarding the SMS, sir, there was an instruction that it should not be printed anymore. And there are people or crew who prefer to read the hard copies. Example for myself as well. I would prefer to have the hard copies. Will it be possible for us to have the copies documented in paper as well?
It is possible, but again, we have to be environment friendly. We have certain duties towards environment. We have to take care of environment. If we continue to print, you're thinking about one ship. We are thinking about 80 ships, and tomorrow it will be 85. So it is very difficult, and we should not go into, because one side we are saying 10B, chapter 10B, energy efficient, environment complied, and we have the platforms ready. We are actually making the SMS into HTML also, which will be shared. Even if back home, if you are there, once it is uploaded, then you can access with your login IDs, and you can check, read whatever you want anywhere and everywhere. And on top of that, we are going to have Starlink, which is being put in on all the ships one by one. So then we should not have this problem. We have to slowly change this habit of going into digitization, because because what is happening with the paper, there is nothing wrong in it, but only thing is the correction and amendment. Sometimes you, when you are on board, you are religiously doing it. Next master comes, he has not done it, but he is reporting, yes, I have done it. Then after that, once we go in during the internal audit or the owner visit, they say this procedure is non-compliant. So it becomes very embarrassing in front of owners, in front of third-party inspectors. So it is a very good idea, but unfortunately, we have to go into the digital world at this moment.
So can I add? You know,
Yes.
in the soft copy, it's just a matter of practice. We are all comfortable with the ways that we have always been comfortable with. That's the paper version. But in the advantages with the online version is you can have a search function. If with the keywords, you can just go in directly and you can get down to the page or to the material that you want to search for in a very short span of time, as opposed to flipping through pages. So that's just a matter of habit. It's just a matter of practice, and the earlier we dive into it, the better it is for us to uh, to adapt to the to this way of working. Yes. In the training center, we do have the physical copies, but we will help transition to the online copies as well.
So these electronic copies should be only used through the portal, or we could download it and copy it onto the desktop computers.
Desktop downloading, only one thing is there. Once you are there, you have to take the responsibility of it. That is how we have sent the message to all the vessels. You can keep the copy, but make sure when I release the next one, you have to delete that copy religiously. Because if that copy remains, or people carry in their hard disk, which is happening in other companies also, I've been seeing.
Well, actually,
So there will be.
I have put it in a shared folder.
That's okay. That's fantastic.
So
But
that everybody could
no,
read it
that
anyway.
is okay. That is accepted. That is accepted. That's not a problem. So that is why we have made one compilation of full SMS, because 700 pages, how can you remember? It is impossible. And searching in front of the inspector, very difficult. So at least the search function works fantastic in the electronic. Make use of it. Anybody has any other question?
Sir, I'm Captain Gao. We met again.
Yes.
Yes, sir. This regards also with the SMS. As we know that what was implemented last September 15th, and there are, I saw in the result that number 3 is about onboard training inspections regarding PEC deficiency. I noticed that there are onboard trainings that are not yet in the portal. So what are we going to do? Are we going to carry out both in the portal and in the USMS?
This is a transition MOC period.
Yeah.
So management of change procedures we have to follow. So it takes 3 months, 3.5 months max. And then after that, it will be rolled out everywhere.
Okay, sir.
So
Okay,
till
noted.
that time,
Yeah. Okay.
yes.
Okay. Okay. Thank you, sir. Noted.
Thank you. Yes. Anything else, guys? Any questions?
How about the CDTR when there is an update of the SMS?
CDTR will always be there. CDTR cannot remove. Whenever there is an update to any chapter, any page, any procedure, CDTR will continue. Okay, so it will
Yeah, we
continue.
still
Only
keep the
thing
filing in the hard copy.
Yes, you can keep, if you electronic copy. See, there is a reason behind, or there is a way to file electronically. If you want to file electronically, it is okay, but you have to have a backup on a different individual computer, so that one fails, you should be able to show to the inspector or third-party inspector that this exists. If that is happening, there is no problem. Electronic filing also accepted.
Thanks. Anything else, guys? This is the time for Q&A. Yeah. Ask anything you want to. The owners are here. We are here. Anything you can ask. Okay. Anybody here? Somebody should ask, I made all this distance for nothing or what?
Captain Vo?
Good evening, sir.
Good evening.
This question is with regards to the SMS.
Um, in the SMS, I have noticed that there's a redundancy of chapter with regards to the like chapter 7. It was mentioned here in chapter 7, but it is also you can only also find it in chapter 1.
Chapter 1?
Yeah.
Yeah, chapter 1 is just a linkage. As I told you, chapter 1 cannot contain all the information together. Otherwise, chapter 1 will become 2,700 pages. So what has happened is chapter 1 is an indicator. So it gives you just a link that please proceed to chapter 7 and do the MOC. So
sir.
that detailed procedure you will find in chapter 7. But indicative, because it's an apex chapter, chapter 1 is an apex chapter, that is why it is giving you a lead to chapter 7.
Okay, sir. That makes clear. So
Yes.
it is just a linkage.
It's just a linkage.
Okay, sir.
Yes.
Thank you.
Any other questions? Come on. This is your time to ask.
Normally, we have this session on the second day, just at the end, but today we are doing it because every time it becomes a last minute thing, there are questions that remain unanswered. So there would be no other opportunity than now. If you would like anything to be, Harish is here. No, not only SMS. Yes. Sorry. Yeah, if somebody is mistaken, not only SMS, anything you want to ask is fine. No more?
You want to ask?
Sir, we're very thankful that you mentioned about Starlink installation in our vessels gradually. We're very glad. So, as master, I think most of masters are also have this concern about the data, size of data provided to the masters. Currently, we have 1 GB. So we hope that with the Starlink, the data allotted to the masters will be increased also. And because for me, it's very helpful that I'm using other platform, communicating with my SIs, not only by email, because other platform will make it more faster to communicate, like WhatsApp, like that.
We are in this, as you know, we are in the transition phase. In this transition phase, what's happening is that we have not yet paid off the VSAT equipment. Okay. So since that has not yet been paid off, a part of the cost is going for payment of the VSAT. Okay. Once that finishes, then what would happen is that we would be able to secure more data. Okay. There is a budget that we have to have for the communication. So once we are able to secure more data, step by step, we would increase it. Yeah. So let this be a transition phase. Okay. But without even asking, we are giving 1 GB data to the master. And I think going forward, if everything is okay, we can increase it further. Yeah. So it's just don't be greedy. Let's take one step at a time.
Yeah. Okay, sir. Thank you.
Anything else, guys? No more? No, and no difficult questions, please.
One of our concern also, I am Chief Engineer Batapa. One of the concern of this from the management regarding the computer units from the vessel, so very slow. So maybe it needs to upgrade to a more high-speed computer because weeklies and monthlies report is very slow for us also to make. It's hung up or always hang.
So what we have planned now, we will have a IT service on board, okay, for all the computers. And they will check all the LAN, your health of the system. If any clutter is there, will be removed, and accordingly the window will be updated. Now some vessel, if using Windows 7, we are changing to Windows 10. All right. So this is ongoing process, and this has been also addressed. So sooner or later, you will have this on your vessels to get it done. Okay? I know, I know.
Yeah, hardware upgradation is also being planned already. It started, initiated. So you'll be getting the mini computer kind of thing with the SSD. So this is already under process, you know. Yeah, yeah.
No more? Yeah?
Next.
No concerns, no feedback, no comments, nothing? All okay? No more? No more? Good. No more, huh?
No, but it's okay.
We have a full day tomorrow morning, so I would appreciate that, you know, if you can, if you have anything, ask now. Otherwise, tomorrow we can do it, but not the best of situations. All right, okay, in that case, no more. Thank you so much, guys. Thank you for your
Thank you. Thank you.
time, contribution, active participation. My only two bits maybe would be, while we are still here, a lot of people, if you can take some time this evening or tomorrow morning to fire up your laptops, your phones, to understand the ETS requirement and the CII requirement, and then see what is not clear, because I'm worried. I'm seriously worried. Okay, many of you do not even realize the change that you are going to be subjected to in a month's time from now. It's going to be a major change. So I would really appreciate if you can just, you know, once you start to go deeper, then you would understand how deep is that ocean, okay, and how you swim. Deep is one matter and long is another matter, okay? You have to swim long distance, okay? So I would really appreciate if you can take some time out, all of you, half an hour, because we are still here. Otherwise, this online thing is going to be difficult for you, okay, to understand it. We can have another session tomorrow. I have been actively involved in it in many forums, through many technical committees. There would be many questions that you would have. I'm 100% sure. But all those questions would only come in when you try to dive deeper. So dive deeper, come out with questions, ask us tomorrow. Let's sort it out, okay? It's important. There is no regulation I have been in this industry for the last 30 years now. I can tell you no other regulation or no such requirement has swept the industry the way it is going to do now. So this is my two bits, okay? So please take care and good night to all of you. But before that, before you sleep, spend half an hour, okay? All right, good. Good. Thank you so much. Good night. Thank you.
Yes, with that we conclude today's session of our presentations. We begin tomorrow at 9 in the morning. We may still have the photo booth open outside. So if you all want to take a quick picture before you all leave, you can do so. Thank you everyone for your kind attention that you all have had throughout the day. It's been a long day, so I hope we have all learned something through these presentations. Thank you very much again. Thank you.